The heart of West Africa, one man has captured the imagination of a continent and beyond. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's enigmatic 37-year-old leader, has been hailed as a revolutionary icon, a Pan-African hero defying the West and steering his nation toward a bold new dawn. But whispers linger in the shadows. Is he truly the champion of the people, or is the media weaving a myth too grand to be true? As the world watches, a deeper truth about Traoré's rule teeters on the edge of exposure, and it's not what you might expect. The clock is ticking, and the real story is about to unfold. Subscribe now to uncover the shocking revelations we're about to unveil. Don't miss the moment the mask slips. Since seizing power in a dramatic 2022 coup, Traoré has positioned himself as a beacon of hope for Burkina Faso, a nation battered by colonial legacies and ongoing jihadist violence. His vision of self-reliance and economic independence has sparked fervor among the youth, with a median age of just 17.7 years, who see him as a modern-day Thomas Sankara, the revolutionary leader whose legacy looms large. But what has Traoré actually done to earn this adoration? Let's dive into the tangible strides his administration has made, painting a picture of progress that feels almost too good to be true, yet leaves you wondering what lies beneath the surface. Infrastructure overhaul. Building a new Burkina Faso. Traoré's government has launched ambitious projects to transform Burkina Faso's infrastructure, aiming to lift the nation from the grip of underdevelopment. One of his boldest moves was slashing cement prices to make housing and construction more accessible, a decision rooted in the rise of a domestic cement industry. It's unjustifiable for us to produce cement and sell it at prices our people can't afford, Traoré declared, a move that promises to spark economic growth by enabling citizens to build homes and businesses. This initiative alone could reshape rural and urban landscapes, connecting communities and fostering opportunity in a country where infrastructure has long been neglected. Then there's the large-scale water management project, a cornerstone of Traoré's vision for sustainability. Launched in 2025, it includes rehabilitating 5,000 hectares of degraded land and creating emergency response teams to tackle environmental challenges. Access to clean water and arable land could be a game-changer for Burkina Faso's rural majority, who have long struggled with the Sahel's harsh conditions. Add to that the revival of Air Burkina and the launch of Faso Rail, projects that signal a push for connectivity and economic vitality. These aren't just infrastructure plans, they're bold declarations of a nation determined to stand on its own. Economic independence, breaking the chains of neo-colonialism. Traoré's economic reforms are where his rhetoric of independence truly takes shape. His administration has taken a sledgehammer to foreign dominance in Burkina Faso's lucrative mining sector. The construction of the country's first gold refinery is a landmark achievement, ensuring that Burkina Faso retains more value from its mineral wealth rather than exporting raw materials to foreign powers. The junta has nationalized 2 gold mines and mandated that foreign companies share a 15% stake in their operations with the state, while also training local workers to build long-term capacity. These moves have sent shockwaves through global markets, with companies like Surama Resources crying foul. But for many Burkinabe, it's a long overdue step toward economic sovereignty. Traoré's agricultural push is equally ambitious. By distributing tractors, motor cultivators, and water pumps to farmers, his government aims to boost food self-sufficiency, a nod to Sankara's legacy of empowering the rural poor. Investments in tomato and rice production are designed to reduce reliance on imports, while modernizing farming techniques to combat food insecurity in a nation where malnutrition remains a persistent challenge. These policies paint a picture of a leader determined to rewrite Burkina Faso's economic story, prioritizing the needs of its people over foreign interests, symbol of resistance. Traoré's defiance of Western influence has made him a darling of the Pan-African movement. Expelling French forces in 2022 and pivoting toward alliances with Russia and China, he has positioned Burkina Faso as a player in a new geopolitical game. His appearance at Russia's 2025 commemoration of the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany was a calculated move, drawing parallels between Burkina Faso's fight against neo-colonialism and Russia's historical struggles. The creation of the alliance of Sahel states with Mali and Niger further cements his vision of regional sovereignty, a confederation that's as much about mutual defense as it is about economic integration. But as the accolades pile up, the questions grow louder. Is Traoré's revolution as pure as it seems, or is there a darker side to his meteoric rise? The world is watching, and the truth is closer than ever. As Captain Ibrahim Traoré's bold reforms reshape Burkina Faso, A storm is brewing on the horizon. The United States, a global powerhouse with a history of intervening to restore democracy, could set its sights on this West African nation, raising chilling questions. What if the U.S. decides to destabilize Traoré's government, as it has done in other regions, like the controversial strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities in 2010? Could this spell the end of Traoré's regime, or would sanctions only deepen the Burkinabe people's loyalty to their defiant leader? The stakes are sky high, and the truth is closer than ever. Subscribe now to stay locked into this unfolding saga. Revelations are coming, and you won't want to miss what's next. The specter of U.S. intervention, a game changer for Burkina Faso? The United States has a well-documented playbook for intervening in nations it deems undemocratic, from covert operations to crippling sanctions. The Stuxnet cyberattack on Iran's nuclear program in 2010, widely attributed to the U.S. and Israel, showed how far Washington will go to neutralize perceived threats. A similar strategy in Burkina Faso, whether through cyberattacks on critical infrastructure like the new gold refinery or drone strikes targeting military assets, could aim to destabilize Traoré's junta. The U.S. could justify such actions by pointing to Traoré's suspension of democratic processes, his expulsion of French forces, and his pivot to Russia and China. General Michael Langley's April 2025 Senate testimony, accusing Traoré of using gold reserves for personal gain, hints at a narrative already taking shape. One that paints him as a corrupt autocrat rather than a revolutionary hero. If the U.S. were to escalate, targeting Burkina Faso's economic lifelines like its gold industry, 12% of GDP, or agricultural initiatives, the impact could be devastating. A cyber attack or sabotage of the Ouagadougou-Donson Airport or Faso Rail could cripple Traoré's infrastructure ambitions, sowing chaos in a nation already grappling with jihadist violence controlling 40% of its territory. Such moves could weaken Traoré's grip on power, embolden internal dissent, and fuel coup attempts, as seen in April 2025 when the junta claimed to have foiled a plot allegedly backed by Ivory Coast. The U.S. could also rally ECOWAS, despite Burkina Faso's withdrawal, to pressure Traoré's alliance of Sahel states, isolating him diplomatically. The precedent of Niger, where ECOWAS imposed sanctions post-coup, suggests this is not far-fetched. Yet, intervention carries risks for the U.S. Traoré's anti-imperialist stance has made him a symbol of resistance across Africa, and aggressive action could backfire, galvanizing Pan-African support. Thousands rallied in Ouagadougou in April 2025, decrying U.S. criticism and pledging loyalty to Traoré. A heavy-handed approach could also push Burkina Faso deeper into Russia's orbit, with Russian paramilitary brigades already deployed. The likelihood of direct military intervention is low. Africa's geopolitical weight doesn't rival the Middle East's, but covert operations or economic warfare remain plausible, especially if Traoré's gold nationalization threatens Western interests. Sanctions, a double-edged sword for Traoré's popularity. If the U.S. opts for sanctions, targeting Traoré's regime or Burkina Faso's gold exports, the impact on public opinion could swing either way. Sanctions on Niger post-2023 coup, which included cutting aid and trade, caused economic hardship, yet bolstered anti-Western sentiment. In Burkina Faso, where 66% of citizens support military rule, up from 24% in 2012, sanctions could rally the youth around Traoré, seen as a victim of Western bullying. His rejection of IMF and World Bank loans, coupled with policies like free education, though disputed online, has cemented his image as a leader prioritizing Burkinabe sovereignty. Posts on X reflect this fervor, with users calling Traoré Africa's hope and accusing the U.S. of plotting to halt his industrialization efforts. However, sanctions could also erode support if they exacerbate Burkina Faso's humanitarian crisis. With 2.1 million displaced and 6.5 million needing aid, economic strangulation could deepen poverty, which Traoré's reforms aim to alleviate. The jihadist insurgency, controlling vast swathes of the country, could exploit public discontent if sanctions disrupt food security or infrastructure projects like the Water Management Initiative. Critics on X argue Traoré's failure to reduce jihadist control, still at 40%, and rising civilian deaths, 4,843 since 2022, could turn public opinion against him if sanctions amplify suffering. Afrobarometer's 2024 survey shows declining support for democracy across Africa, but economic delivery remains critical. If Traoré's promises of self-reliance falter under U.S. pressure, his cult-like following might crack, a precarious future, Traoré's fate in the balance. The possibility of U.S. intervention or sanctions hinges on Burkina Faso's strategic value. Its gold reserves and growing ties with Russia and China make it a flashpoint in the new Cold War. A destabilization campaign could fracture Traoré's junta, especially given the military's fragmentation, evident in multiple coup attempts since 2022. Yet, Traoré's charisma and populist reforms, from agricultural investments to symbolic acts like replacing colonial uniforms, have built a loyal base. Public opinion, as seen in mass rallies and ex-posts, suggests many Burkinabe view him as a shield against neo-colonialism. But what happens if the U.S. doubles down? Will Traoré's government survive a concerted push to reinstate democracy, or will sanctions tip the scales toward collapse? The answers are closer than you think, and the world is watching. Subscribe now for the explosive next chapter in this high-stakes drama. Burkina Faso's future hangs in the balance, and the truth is about to break free. Will Burkina Faso's people stand united behind Ibrahim Traoré, or is the dream of a better future at risk? The truth is unraveling. As the specter of foreign intervention looms over Burkina Faso, one thing seems undeniable. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has ignited a fire in the hearts of millions. His bold reforms, cement price cuts, gold nationalization, and agricultural empowerment have painted a vision of a self-reliant nation, free from the shackles of neo-colonialism. For a country where 70% of the population is under 30, Traoré's defiance and tangible achievements resonate deeply, fueling a groundswell of loyalty. But if the people see through the haze of external threats and media narratives, will they rally unwaveringly behind their young leader, ready to fight for a brighter Burkina Faso? Or could cracks in this unity threaten the dream? The tension is palpable, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Subscribe now to catch the next twist in this gripping saga. The truth about Traoré's hold on Burkina Faso is about to be laid bare. A people's champion, Traoré's resonance with the masses. Traoré's appeal lies in his ability to speak directly to the aspirations of Burkina Faso's youth, who make up the majority of the nation's 22 million people. His policies aren't just bureaucratic, they're personal. By slashing cement prices, he's enabled families to dream of building homes, a rare prospect in a country where 40% live below the poverty line. The Water Management Project, rehabilitating 5,000 hectares of degraded land, promises to transform rural life, giving farmers hope in a region battered by desertification and jihadist violence. On X, young Burkinabe share stories of new tractors reaching their villages, with one user posting, "For the first time, my father can farm without breaking his back." This is Traoré's Burkina Faso. These tangible gains have turned Traoré into a symbol of possibility, a leader who walks among the people, not above them. His push for economic sovereignty strikes an even deeper chord. By nationalizing gold mines and building the country's first refinery, Traoré has challenged the foreign corporations that long profited while Burkina Faso languished. The 15% stake mandate for the state in mining operations isn't just policy. It's a declaration that the nation's wealth belongs to its people. This resonates in a country where colonial exploitation left scars still visible in Ouagadougou's crumbling infrastructure. Rallies in 2025, with thousands chanting, "Traoré is our shield," reflect a growing belief that he's fighting for their dignity. His revival of Air Burkina and Faso Rail, though still in early stages, symbolizes a nation on the move, literally and figuratively. For many, these aren't just projects, they're proof that Burkina Faso can stand tall. Unity in the face of adversity. If the United States or other powers move to impose sanctions or destabilize Traoré's regime, the response from the Burkinabe could be a defiant show of solidarity. The 2025 Afrobarometer survey shows 66% of citizens support military rule, a sharp rise from a decade ago, driven by frustration with corrupt democratic regimes that failed to deliver. Traoré's expulsion of French forces and rejection of Western aid have cemented his image as a leader who puts Burkina Faso first. When the U.S. Senate's General Langley accused Traoré of personal enrichment in April 2025, mass protests erupted in Ouagadougou, with citizens burning effigies of Western leaders. "They want our gold, but Ibrahim wants our future," one protester declared, a sentiment echoed across X, where hashtags like #StandWithTraor trend regularly. This loyalty runs deep because Traoré's reforms align with the people's lived realities. His agricultural initiatives, distributing water pumps and boosting tomato and rice production, directly address food insecurity, a daily struggle for 6.5 million Burkinabe. Free education policies, though debated for their implementation, have sparked hope among parents who see their children attending school for the first time. These aren't abstract promises. They're changes people can touch, from new classrooms to irrigation canals. If sanctions hit, cutting off trade or aid, the memory of these gains could fuel resistance. Historical parallels, like Zimbabwe's defiance under Mugabe despite Western sanctions, suggest Burkinabe might rally around Traoré, blaming external powers for their hardship rather than their leader. Planning a better Burkina Faso. The people's support isn't just reactive, it's forward-looking. Traoré's vision of a self-sufficient Burkina Faso has inspired grassroots movements, with youth groups organizing to promote local farming and entrepreneurship. In towns like Bobo Dioulasso, community cooperatives are forming to leverage government-supplied equipment, aiming to make Burkina Faso a regional breadbasket. The alliance of Sahel states, uniting Burkina Faso with Mali and Niger, has sparked discussions of a shared currency and trade network, a dream that excites young intellectuals on X who see it as a step toward African unity. Traoré isn't just building roads, he's building a nation we can believe in, one user posted, capturing the sentiment of a generation hungry for change. This vision extends to security, a critical issue in a country where jihadists control 40% of the territory. Traoré's recruitment of 90,000 volunteers for the defense of the homeland, VDPs, has empowered communities to take up arms alongside the military, fostering a sense of collective responsibility. While critics point to rising civilian deaths, 4,843 since 2022, supporters argue Traoré inherited a fractured security apparatus and is rebuilding it with local pride. Training programs for VDPs and modernized military uniforms, replacing colonial-era designs, signal a cultural shift towards self-determination. If the people continue to see Traoré as their protector, they may double down, organizing local councils and youth movements to plan for a resilient future, even under external pressure. A fragile unity. Yet, this unity isn't ironclad. The humanitarian crisis, 2.1 million displaced, millions food insecure, tests public patience. If U.S. sanctions disrupt Traoré's projects, like the gold refinery or Faso Rail, economic pain could erode support among urban elites or rural communities hardest hit. Posts on X reveal a divide. While many praise Traoré's vision, others question his ability to deliver security, citing jihadist attacks near Ouagadougou in 2025. The junta's tight media control and arrests of dissenters, like journalist Adama Bayala, raise concerns among some about authoritarianism. If external intervention amplifies these cracks, will the people's loyalty hold, or will frustration turn to disillusionment? The future hangs in the balance. As Traoré's star rises, so does the weight of expectation. The Burkinabe people, inspired by his reforms and defiance, seem poised to stand by him, planning a future where their nation thrives independently. But external threats and internal challenges could test this resolve like never before.